Okay, everybody. Again, spoiler alerts. We're going to review the entire issue. I do recommend always, if you're able to, pick up these comics, support the brand. Unless you just don't really read comics, then hey, that's what my video is for. I'll give you the review of what happens in issue 302 today. But first, let's talk about how we ended issue 301. Of course, we ended issue 301. That issue was entirely about Serpentor Khan setting off the weapon of mass destruction, which was a bioweapon, which wound up turning everyone on Cobra Island into a zombie, but still remaining their faculties about them. And Cobra Commander escapes after killing Wade Collins, a long-term character of G.I. Joe, and Cobra Commander escaping the island. The Joes have now returned to base, and they are bringing Wade Collins' body back from the battlefield. And really, that is where issue 302 jumps off. Now, I will be referring back to the comic. I have it here in front of me. I'll make sure to throw some screen caps up so you can see a few of the panels. Now, I don't like to do a whole bunch of panels because, again, a lot of folks, writers, artists, this is their livelihood, and I don't want to spoil the entire issue by putting every single panel up on there. Had a few people wondering why I didn't include more panels. So that is the reason why. But I'm going to look right over here. Well, I guess we should start with the cover. So I'll go ahead and just show the cover now. So again, this is the regular edition cover of 302. And 302 does have a variant cover, at least one. It's the black and white cover. And if I just check in here real quick, it does not list any other variant covers on the inside. But that being said, 302 starts off with Cobra Island and Serpentor addressing the mindless horde. So he's sitting there and he's like, yes, we have been turned into these monsters, but we still have our faculties. And yes, we crave human flesh. And he's going on. And then one of the zombies on the island says, why should we listen to you? And starts going on to this rant about how he feels stronger and he never has to listen to anybody. And then Serpentor just caps him, blows his head straight off. And of course that silences all the other zombies. And Serpentor says, is there any other questions? And we do get another... because remember, Cobra Island has a casino on it, so you get all these varying zombie people. And I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but they're on a scooter, and they pull up and they say, basically, how are we going to get off this island and meet this need of flesh we have? And Serpentor's like, we're gonna get off this island. We are going to invade Springfield. Of course, if you're not familiar, Springfield is the base of operations for Cobra outside of Cobra Island. And that's what happens on the island. And then we cut back to Arlington Cemetery. Arlington Cemetery, they are doing the burial for Wade Collins. All the Joes are there. You've got the pallbearers. Snake Eyes is there. Sean Collins, also, Snake Eyes is there. All the Joe team. And so they present the colors to Sean's wife. And then later we cut back to the pit, and the team members of the Joe team members are talking to Stalker and say, how come he got special honors at Arlington Cemetery when in fact Wade was actually a Crimson Guard? And and basically this turns into a backstory for Wade Collins. And during that backstory, Stalker's talking about how it was him, Snake Eyes, Wade, and they mention a couple other people that I don't know the names of, or I know the names because they say. As a matter of fact, I'll open it up so we can review it real quick. He mentions a couple of names, and specifically they are Ramon Escobedo and Dickie Saperstein. I don't recognize either one of those characters. And he neglects to say Storm Shadow, which is very strange, because he mentions Wade, Snake Eyes, himself, and these two other characters, but not Storm Shadow. But the panel clearly shows Storm Shadow. He's walking with a sword in his hand. In the original A Real American Hero, and again, maybe they added something in IDW that I don't remember. It was just Wade, Stalker, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow. I don't remember there being two other dudes, but maybe there was. And he says, yeah, we were caught in a firefight. We saw Wade get hit. Turns out he actually was a POW. He got out. And he's explained all this to them. He says when Wade came back, he didn't have any friends. He couldn't get a job. And Cobra was kind of his last-ditch effort. And then through the series, we've learned that he, goes back to the Joe team. And then subsequently, last issue, he was killed by Cobra Commander. So moving forward, we go to what are they called? The Revanche? I don't know. It's the android cyborg faction now in the G.I. Joe universe. And the lead one, Alpha 001, is kind of doing some recon, trying to figure out, hey, what's going on at Cobra Island after this explosion? He gets reports back from his minions saying, hey, and they're showing him that Serpentor plans to take over Springfield. And so Alpha 001 is planning his own, okay, how are we going to take advantage of this situation? We then go to Cobra Commander, who has made it back to Springfield. He also knows that Serpentor Khan is going to invade Springfield, and he is talking to all of his legions, his masses. Now, these are also not just troopers. These are also just like family members of people on Cobra Island who had, say, a husband or a wife that were part of Cobra. And they're all like, what about this person? What about this person? Are they okay? And Cobra Commander doesn't want to hear him. He's like, I'll take questions later. And we need to prepare for a full-on assault of Springfield. And we are going to make Serpentor Khan's life miserable as soon as he gets to Springfield. So Serpentor is going to attack. Cobra Commander knows and is prepping for the attack. The Revalanche, I really need to find out what their name is because, and I apologize for looking down, I'm trying to see the name of the actual group because it's one of those ones I never really, I'm not a huge fan of them. I'm trying to warm up to them, but they were brought on during the IDW days of G.I. Joe. So they're doing good. They're giving us some stuff to go off of. But anyway, so we move on, and then G.I. Joe also finds out that Serpentor Khan is going to invade Springfield, and I don't remember if it's Duke or General Hawk who says we should really just let them destroy each other and save ourselves the trouble. And Duke says, don't let Dawn hear that because I believe Dawn's relatives are part of Cobra or were part of Cobra, so they would be included in this Civil War battle, whatever it's going to wind up being. And yeah, so we get to the final few panels of the book, and we are looking at a cabin in the woods, and it says somewhere in the Sierras. And it is Snake Eyes' cabin. Now, if you recall, at the end of the IDW run, they did bring Snake Eyes, the original Snake Eyes, back from the dead by having him cloned and his memories dumped into the new clone body. So Snake Eyes is back. So they're at the cabin. Scarlett's talking to him. Snake Eyes is cooking a meal. And she's commenting on how good the pheasant, or what is it? It's rabbit stew. Sorry, rabbit stew is, and that she just wished she hadn't seen him sneak up on the rabbits and break their necks. And there's a noise at the door, a scratching sound. And Scarlett goes to the door, and there is a wolf. And the wolf has a cub wolf in its jaw. And it is a gift to our newly recreated Snake Eyes, a new Timber, essentially. I don't recall what happened to the last Timber. Evidently must have been killed, unfortunately, I suppose. I don't remember. It must have happened in IDW. And anyway, this wolf brings a wolf cub to Snake Eyes, and he happily takes it, and the wolf goes away. And there's a cute panel of the wolf cub sniffing Snake Eyes. And then we cut to the final page of the comic, and something that shocked me and I wasn't ready for, and I immediately go, oh, that's not right, until I thought about it, is that Snake Eyes and Scarlet are laying in bed, and the wolf cub's curled up at the bottom of the bed. And Snake Eyes says, yes, Snake Eyes speaks and says, Scarlet, I wanted to tell you. And she shushes him, and essentially that's the end of the issue. And I remember I saw him, I'm like, what the hell? Snake Eyes doesn't speak, or he rarely speaks his vocal. And then I remembered he's a clone. Vocal cords are back. So we now have a Snake Eyes that can fully speak, which is interesting. I actually do like this because Snake Eyes has never spoken outside of a few words through the entire continuity. He's never spoken. The most we've really had Snake Eyes speak is issue 155, where he actually writes a letter, and you can read and you can kind of see Snake Eyes' thought patterns by reading this letter he writes. So it was very interesting to hear Snake Eyes speak. And again, I didn't even make the connection at first. I'm like, he's not supposed to talk. Why would he be talking? But of course, now we have this clone Snake Eyes. Furthermore, this Snake Eyes does not have a damaged face because it's a clone. So it's Snake Eyes I don't know if they're still saying it was Vietnam that he fought in or if they've changed it since then, but no damage from that, no damage from any G.I. Joe missions. He is completely healed up. No, not healed up. He's just original face. No damage, no injuries. So I'm very interested in seeing how this goes. Now, they did show some panels during the Wade Collins funeral of Snake Eyes, because he was one of the pallbearers, or the in charge of the flag, something like that, during the ceremony. And they still showed his face for the most part. They did black it out a little bit, because I guess the real thing is we're not supposed to actually know what his face looks like, even though we've seen it many times, scarred and with a mask on. But it was very interesting that they're kind of letting the original Snake Eyes speak, and we're going to be able to start seeing his face more and more. My assumption is he'll still dress like Snake Eyes. He'll still wear his mask of choice, either the commando mask or the visor mask. But yeah, overall, my impressions of this issue, it was a good issue. I thought I would like the zombies more than I think I do right at this point. I like the idea of Serpentor keeping his faculties, Mindbender keeping his faculties, but I'd rather the rest of them just be more mindless. Now, they're still wanting to eat flesh and yada, yada, yada. I'm just trying to prepare myself for how this battle's going to shake down between Cobra Commander and Serpentor Khan, because we know it's coming. And this issue, like I said, it's just, it didn't do a whole lot for me other than just set me up for issue 303. And, yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I don't think there's much more to go over. If you can pick it up, great. It did just release yesterday, December 20th. So if you can pick up a local copy from your comic books, a copy from your local comic shop, that'd be great if you want to support the line like that. Otherwise, I do enjoy doing these videos for you guys. They're really fun to just talk about what G.I. Joe's up to comic-wise, and maybe what we're going to see in the future if we can relate that somehow back to comics. So my question for you is, what do you think from what I've told you this issue? Is it something you want to pick up? Is it something you're just going to pass on? And what do you think about potentially Skybound characters, like let's say Serpentor Khan, now that he's part of that? Would you buy a Serpentor Khan mutated classified figure? Something to think about. But yeah, otherwise, videos are probably going to be kind of slow coming out through the remainder of the year. I'm going to try to get one or two of them up. But thank you so much. 2023 has been awesome so far. And again, I wish you, your loved ones, friends, and family a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, and we will talk to you soon. Otherwise, I'm Mark. You've been watching Coffee with Toys, and I'll see you later.